Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I am Tamiru Nimsat. Let's have a look at the headlines. Economy grew by 5.5% in the third quarter, CBSL reports. Public Debt Management Office to manage government borrowings. News in detail. Central Bank Friday announced that the Sri Lankan economy grew by 5.5% in the third quarter this year, as contributed by all three major economic activities. Accordingly, agriculture, industry and services activities grew respectively by 3%, 8.8% and by 2.6% in real sector. Despite a year-on-year decline in tea production during October 2024, the total production for the period of January to October 2024 recorded a marginal growth. Rubber production showed steady improvement, achieving a notable year-on-year increase in October 2024. Nevertheless, overall negative growth from January to October was largely driven by adverse weather, which significantly disrupted tapping operations, particularly during the second quarter. Coconut production continues to trend downward, experiencing a year-on-year decline over the first 10 months of 2024, including October. Furthermore, taxes-less subsidies on products recorded a 13.3% increase. November 2024 Purchasing Managers Indices indicated expansions in both manufacturing and services activities on a month-on-month basis. Between 16th and 20th December 2024, crude oil prices generally trended downward, driven by concerns about weak demand in China. Additionally, the US Federal Reserve's plans to slow the pace of interest rate cuts in 2025, combined with the strong dollar, added further pressure on prices. Overall, Brent and WTI prices fell by $1.85 and $1.17 per barrel, respectively, during the time frame. Weekly average weighted prime lending rate for the week ending the 20th December 2024 decreased by 10 bps to 8.72% compared to the previous week. The average weighted call money rate remained unchanged at 8% on the 20th December compared to the end of last week. The reserve money increased compared to the previous week, mainly due to increase in the currency in circulation and deposits held by the commercial banks with central bank. The total outstanding market liquidity was a surplus of over 140 billion rupees by the 20th December 2024, compared to a surplus of around 178 billion rupees by the end of last week. By the 20th December 2024, the old share price index increased by 4.26% to 14,810.7 points, and the S&P/SL 20 index increased by 4.15% to 4,420.79 points compared to the index values of the last week. In the fiscal sector, T-bill yield rates declined in both the primary and secondary markets, while T-bond yields also indicated a reduction in the secondary market during the week. The rupee value of T-bills and T-bonds held by foreign investors increased by 1% during the reporting week. In the reporting week, the auction for T-bills experienced oversubscription rate of approximately 2.2. An increase of 20.8% was observed in the total volume of secondary market transactions in T-bills and T-bonds in the reporting week compared to the week before. When it goes to the external sector, the Sri Lankan rupee appreciated against the US dollar by 10.7% during the year up to 20th December 2024. The Sri Lanka Military Academy had another passing out ceremony in Diathalawa last weekend. The SLMA gifts 222 newly commissioned officers to the nation during the passing out parade. The day's proceedings commenced with the chief guest being warmly received by Defence Secretary Air Vice Marshal Sampath Toikonta, along with the Army Commander Lieutenant General Vikum Lienage and SLMA Commandant Major General Sylvester Pereira. Upholding the tradition of honouring fallen heroes, the chief guest laid a floral tribute at the SLMA War Memorial, paying homage to the sacrifices of the nation's war heroes. The day's event saw the commissioning of 222 officer cadets as the second lieutenants in a dignified ceremony steeped in military traditions. Among the newly commissioned officers, 203 were male cadets and 19 are female cadets. The batch also includes 10 foreign officer cadets from Kenya, Uganda, Gambia and Zambia. Additionally, 13 Sri Lankan officer cadets who completed their overseas training at prestigious institutions such as the National Defence Academy, an Officers Training Academy in India, and the Bangladesh Military Academy and Pakistan Military Academy were also commissioned. Deputy Minister of Defence Major General Arun Jayasekara, addressing the parade, said that the greatest treasure of a country is its citizens, and first and foremost duty of the military officers is to protect them. Deputy Minister also said that this responsibility must remain deeply ingrained into the officers' mind, and their primary obligation must be the safeguard of citizens' lives. The Deputy Minister also graced the graduating officer cadets' final presentation at the Sri Lanka Military Academy's Sino-Lanka Friendship Auditorium. The research, titled Threats Posed by Transnational Crimes to Sri Lanka and South Asia, the Role of Security Forces, was commended by the Minister of its significance in addressing national and regional security challenges. Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. Sri Lanka has started setting up a public debt management office to manage government borrowings, which will also track obligations of state enterprises and subnational bodies. The PDMO agency was started on the first week of this month and is expected to be fully operational by January 2026, centralizing functions now carried out by different agencies. The statement to the media by the Treasury said that the PDMA provides the legal framework for the establishment of the operational independent public debt management office. It strengthens and centralizes the management of public debt, improves accountability and debt transparency, and ensures the implementation of efficient and transparent borrowing practices, which are imperative for debt sustainability and the long-term fiscal health of the country. Key responsibilities will be management of the debt of the government, issuance and management of loan guarantees, management of on-lending operations, and recording and reporting of public debt. SOEs will have to submit to the PDMO all terms and conditions for each of planned borrowings and a copy of the executed debt contract. Each provincial council, local authority and state-owned enterprise will have to report outstanding debt at the end of each quarter. The PDMO will take over functions now carried out by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Department of External Resources and the Department of Treasury Operations. Among its entrusted duties, PDMO will prepare and publicize the medium-term debt management strategy, the annual borrowing plan, and the auction calendars for the issuance of government securities. It will also negotiate the financial terms and conditions and execution of domestic and external borrowings, other credit arrangements and debt management activities of the government. It will maintain relationships for achieving and maintaining access to financial markets and will coordinate debt operations in relation to cash flow management. China's Chongqing Airlines will resume its services to Colombo from the 8th January with 3 weekly flights. The 3 services are on Monday, Wednesday and Friday with a stopover in Male. The route itinerary is Male to Colombo, Colombo to Chongqing and will be able to connect other airlines conveniently. As Chongqing is the largest commercial and industrial center in southwest China, more cultural investment and tourism exchanges are expected to be brought to Sri Lanka via the scheduled 3 weekly services between Chongqing-Jiambi International Airport and Bandaranaike International Airport. China remains the 4th top source market for Sri Lanka with 121,757 tourists year to date. And Chongqing Airlines is the first and only airline to operate Colombo-Chongqing service. The flights were operated by modern Airbus A320 Neo with 3-class cabin configuration of business class, premium economy and economy class. Chongqing Airlines is a joint venture of Chongqing Municipal People's Government and China Southern Airlines, which was established a solid foundation for its development and a complete service guarantee system in Chongqing. Chongqing Airlines has over 50 destinations in China through Chongqing. Whether you want to experience the round trip of magical 8D Chongqing or want to arrive in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangdong, Zhejiang, Hubei, Yunnan and Fujian, Chongqing Airlines can provide you with the most convenient and comfortable travel arrangements. Sri Lanka has allowed the import of buses, special purpose vehicles like cranes and galley-bowsers and small motorized vehicles with penalties if the importers carry large unsold stocks for over 3 months. The first stage of import relaxation started through a gazette issued on December 18th. Under the gazette, importers are responsible for registering vehicles imported for customers within 90 days of submitting customs documents. Government announces that if stocks are carried and vehicles are not registered within 90 days of import, the importers are fully accountable. They will be undergoing a penalty of 3% of the cost insurance freight, or rather known as CIF value of the vehicles, will be charged each month. If a director registers a vehicle under his or her name, that vehicle cannot be transferred for 3 years. Without the late fee, no vehicle can be registered at the Department of Motor Traffic. The late fee will be capped at 45% of the CIF value. Any importer that has failed to register more than 25% of its imported stock, which will be assessed every 6 months, will be banned from imports for 3 months. Meantime, Central Bank has cut rates to 8% and also started a single policy rate ahead of opening vehicle imports. Some analysts were warning that it could lead to a credit shock being accommodated by the central bank with negative consequences on the exchange rate, which is in any case under an inconsistent policy. Stay tuned for stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on positive notes today. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on mixed notes today.
The all share price index gained by 209.91 points to close at 15,020.61, and the S&P SL20 gained by 77.63 points to close at 4,498.42. The turnover was 8.4 billion rupees and over 443 million shares were traded.
Up next are forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care and good night.